In this video on the Mine Simulator TMS, we'll be discussing shifts and shift events. In TMS, to specify shift and shift events, you go to the main menu of the Mine Simulator Input-Output spreadsheet and go to the Operational tab and then select the Shift and Shift Events tab from the Operational Data sheet. In TMS, you can specify shifts, i.e. 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, etc. But you can also specify different shifts for different days of the week. So these are the shifts for Sunday, you can specify, for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, etc. Not only that, you can specify shifts each day of the week for week 1, or down to week 2, week 3, week 4, etc. Right down to, in some mines we actually specified individual daily shifts, a repeat pattern up to, doesn't start to repeat until week 15. So within each shift you can specify, for each shift you specify a shift number. Like this starts on shift 2, which the simulation starts at Sunday at midnight, and this starts, you put in a shift number, so all these events occur within shift 2, and then we go down to shift 1, which is what we call in here day shift. Then we do the day 1 events that occur in shift 1, and then we're back to shift 2 again, and just for 24 hours. If you don't specify an event, i.e. a shift change event, here as an operating event, the simulation will use this shift change here to automatically change shifts, and it'll actually do that as just an operator swap event. i.e. trucks come in, go past, they swap operators, and the trucks go back out again. But in here you can have a bit more control over what happens to shift events. I'll just go through some of the things you can change within shifts. So you do a duration of whatever's the shift, whatever going to occur within the shifts, from a start time and then a duration. So at 2 o'clock into at night, after midnight, and for this period, i.e. 2.8 minutes, we have a shift change. We're going to have a crib in the mine. Well, we're going to have a crib event. In this particular case, what they're doing is they're swapping out a percentage of the trucks with a relief crew. So in this particular case, some of the trucks, or 40% of the trucks, come in, and they swap out with a relief crew. It takes them they come in, they're actually doing it in the mine. And when it says crib in the mine, these are all the different events over here you can specify as an event. So in this case it's crib in the mine, and when you look at crib in the mine, that means trucks load and empty will swap out the digger or the dump, and the diggers will swap next time they're not loading a truck. Virtually that is kind of like a troop carrier going out and swapping the operators over and bringing them back in for crib. So it eventually takes, to do that, to swap out an operator out in the mine or at the truck dump in this particular case, historically it's been taking about just over 2 minutes. So at 2 o'clock at night, 40% of the truck drivers roughly, well, it applies to the trucks, and all the diggers at that particular time, they swap over. They swap operators, and then the machine starts operating again. And then at 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is 2.75 decimal hours, the same thing happens with 30% of the crew, and just the trucks swap out. So as you can see, as time goes by, they're all having, when the operator's not in the truck doing this, when the truck is actually doing this event, it's been assigned a status of crib. So this is how we track when trucks are being stopped for crib events as such. So then this occurs till all the operators are swapped out or had their virtually half hour for crib in this particular case. And then the mine just operates normally from 4 o'clock for another 1.7 hours till about 6 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock we have a shift change event in the mine, in which case, in this particular case, half the trucks are swapped out in the mine, and all the loader operators are swapped out in the mine. But at the same time, or just after, half the trucks actually come in and go to the park up, or the go park, and they do a shift change there. And this is how long it takes, 0.2 of an hour or 12 minutes. And it takes 15 minutes when they come into the car park, into the go park. This is actual time they're actually in the go park. So in this particular case, the trucks start to come in. Once they've dumped their load, then they go around to the go park and park up. And this time starts from when the truck is actually parked up. The time from when the truck has finished dumping its load to it actually travels around to the go park, that is classified as a transit event for the truck, and actually gets reported as such. It's only when the truck is in the go park does it get assigned a shift change status. The other thing that occurs here, we can specify is that just in day, this is shift change night to day. There's a distribution. We've been through distributions before, but if you go back to general distributions, if you go to 59, this is how long it takes to do a machine check around the haul truck. So it's picking up distribution 59. So we go back to shift events. So in this case, for trucks and loaders, that when only at shift change during night to day, they can do an additional delay, which is a machine check, which doesn't. They're doing it during night shift as well down here. Same sort of thing. Then they go for crib breaks again, and crib breaks again later on at night time. 10 o'clock at night they start doing this crib break event. There's also other things you can apply in here, like you can apply the duration. You can actually use this duration for this particular event. Trucks come in and they actually take 2.808 minutes on average to do this in changeover operators. But you can also, if you want, you can put in a distribution. In this particular case, we just picked up the average data. 2 minutes seems about right, so that's all we applied. But we could actually generate a distribution from the actual time it takes trucks to do this sort of event and put it in here as a distribution. Therefore, every time a truck goes in to do an operator swap virtually, the time will be different. And once again, you can do the same thing for diggers, the time between. You can also say whether this impacts on equipment running in the run-of-mine reclaim. Some mines say, well, during shift change, I want these events not to impact on run-of-mine reclaim. I have the operators are going to work through these sorts of shift events, such that if the rate of material coming out of the mine drops down during shift change or crib events, I want to make sure my run-of-mine operators don't do that. They can't take cribs separately. So in this case, you can say whether it impacts on run-of-mine or it doesn't. So if you say no here, it won't impact on the trucks, the equipment running run-of-mine. And also, you can just apply it. Then, if you do that, if you say no, this crib break is not going to impact on run-of-mine operators. And then you probably put another event under here where you say, this is crib break and only applies to those operators of the run-of-mine equipment. So they do a separate crib break virtually. And that enables the run-of-mine to keep operating during either shift change or crib breaks or something. You can also specify if it only applies to equipment mining a specific material type. So you don't want, you can have shift events for the people working on waste to the, compared to the people working on coal or something like that. And you can also apply it to, that's applied to only, yeah, this only applied to particular material types. Or you do not want to apply it to material. So you can say, these are breaks going to happen. I don't want them to apply to material mining waste or whatever. You can also stagger equipment. That means I want to apply it to all the loaders. So I want to apply this thing to all the diggers. Okay. And if you say yes, I want to stagger it. That means it's going to apply it to all the diggers, but it won't apply to all the diggers at the same time. It'll apply it to one digger, and then later, soon after, it'll apply to another digger. So all the diggers won't go down at the same time. They'll be staggered to actually how this sort of event within the shift is applied to them. And material, I stagger operating events to equipment mining the same material type. Okay, and then once again I said these are all the different events you can put in there. And the additional delays, and then just a comment of what this event is about. This structure I'm available to successfully apply shift and shift events. So shift events are only things that happen on a regular basis within the shift. It doesn't include things like safety meetings that may only happen once a month, or they're specified separately. So these are only the events that happen on a regular basis within the shift. Things like you put toolbox meetings or whatever it may be in there. So these are the things that just happen on every shift. So that's how you specify shifts and shift events. And like I said, this sort of structure has been successful in applying shifts and shift events to coal mines in Australia, to copper mines in South America, to this, that and the other thing. So it's been a reasonably successful sort of structure to apply all these different types of shifts and shift events. So that's about it. Thank you.